welcome back to Game 3 here between TL and T1. T1 currently 2-0 up, but TL have shown us a lot of signs of life through this series so far. The question is, can they just go that one step further? Can they just secure that one Elder Dragon that will win them the game?
It's so hard to refocus after a game like that where you put everything out there on the stage, but they have to do it. They have to clear the last couple of games from their minds and just focus on what's ahead of them. Must-win games from here on out for Team Liquid. Try and calm down and focus. You are so close. You know you can do it, but it's so difficult to get over the line versus the world champions.
It's also one of the occasions where a salty run back is not going to feel too bad. Given how the game played out, I think there were a lot of decisions, particularly made by TL, that they're going to feel very vindicated about. The one thing that is tough is that Samira. I don't think you're going to see that again. But the early prio, particularly on the Taliyah, it really did feel like a hit. Even though Faker had a great game on the Ahri, at least it gives you a little bit more intel and guaranteed information as to what T1 is going to play.
I love it. Slam the Taliyah, take that thing away. Taliyah prio remaining extremely high here.
And the question is, will T1 just go Kalista Varus again? It didn't, I don't think it's the reason that they won the last game. I think the last game was a multitude of different factors, but you take away the Kalista from the enemy. Instead, Varus with Sejuani.
Makes sense from T1's perspective. Obviously, picking away the Kalista feels great, but playing it into Taliyah, even in the best of times, can feel kind of rough. And T1, particularly in the mid to late stage of the game, was really missing out. And this is, I think, one of the big mistakes, even for all of T1's strengths, they made for this tournament. It's, again, going really heavy on these extremely lane-focused comps, when we have seen that there has been an extra tool added to mitigate early pressure in lane in the form of lane swaps.
The Kalista and the Nautilus locked in for TL. Corki, the answer in mid. Now, we saw Faker lose this matchup against Knight, and I will say, although APA has had a great tournament, I don't think he's Knight. However, the avenue has been shown to beat Faker on the Taliyah into Corki matchup.
There certainly have, and he did have quite a few seismic shoves on non-CC targets in the previous game, getting some of those picks. Still, though, you are always wary and cognizant of that Taliyah being paired with the guaranteed CC coming from the jungle, so Vi will remain banned here. T1 taking ban duties on that side. Meanwhile, are you going to try and take away support champions from Keria? I mean, that pool is extremely, extremely deep. Or do you want to try and look at top lane?
Do think you have to ban Renata. That's the one that, to me, is, and I guess they're going to go for the TF as well. I know TF has been a pick that T1 has been criticized for still really highly prioritizing. And I think against BLG it looked really rough, but T1 is a team that loves playing the map. And TF does it better than almost any champion. It's why he's been in and out of the meta for like, I don't know what, like 10, 11, 12 years at this point. Has been around since forever. Renata, I do think still has to come through, particularly into Nautilus. That's a really rough matchup, and Renata and Varus is a really strong 2v2.
Yeah, and we assume, of course, that TL are going to be looking for the blind pick Cassante, if Cassante is available. So you're then weighing your defense here. Do you want to try and ban away Zeus again, the Vayne or something, or are you really more worried about the Renata coming from Keria there, or even the Alistar coming from Keria there?
And we did see the Alistar from Core JJ in game 1, so TL obviously put a bit of priority on that support pick. T1 now could look to jungle. I was going to say this, Sejuani can be a support when it's Keria, obviously mostly a jungler. The Rel currently the hover, so could be Keria on the Rel instead.
So blind pick Cassante assumed. And then Umpty. I mean, Xin Zhao looks decent. Does he want to go back on the Lee Sin for some Q smite winning, plays? Okay, we're cooking a little bit. Some Ivern action. Maybe you put impact on something different than Cassante then.
Nope. Gonna give themselves more time. They might still lock in something crazy for Umpty here, but it is going to be, at the very least, the Cassante again. Going to be the R5 counter pick here for Zeus, unsurprisingly. This Rel coming in, though, is interesting, because obviously T1 Lost Worlds had Rel at an insanely high prio. Owner had some of the most iconic plays on the champion, the flash over the arrow. But if you're wondering, why haven't I seen Rel outside of some support matchup left to right, is because they took away her jungle modifiers. It's going to be Umti on the Rek'Sai instead, so still looking to play aggressively, and obviously, especially when he is double frontline this time around, Zeus is just going to go for the Vayne again.
And some people might wonder, you know, you've got a Sejuani here, why aren't we picking melee mid, melee top to really get that permafrost passive up? Sejuani does all of the things that she does really well without having a melee to back her up. She doesn't actually need that bonus. She can proc her passive by herself. She can get that permafrost down. She's a good tank. So all that Sejuani does here is just buy you more space. Gives you a good engaged position.
Independent, only needs help from her board.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, T1 this time around, they have much stronger front line. Very, very good structure with their CC, and they have massive poke because they've got, you know, if assuming Faker gets through without a lot of harassment early, the Corki plus the Varus will be a bunch of poke, and then they have side laning options, of course, with Zeus on the Vayne. So a lot of threats here from T1 this time around, and Team Liquid must win this game to continue the series.
Elimination on the line. And a lot of pressure going to be on the general. Umti in the jungle on that Rek'Sai. We saw Yike have, I think, some of the most standout performances of the Rek'Sai. Jungle Rek'Sai feels a lot more fair than when we saw the top Rek'Sai. I think that was universally pretty disliked. On jungle Rek'Sai though, going to be looking for the early plays, and maybe similarly to what BLG was able to do, again, put Faker behind early, because without mid lane prio, T1 does not look like the same team.
Yeah, Team Liquid, they definitely need to win early. They have to snowball this game, and it is such a hard task versus T1 to ever take an early snowball and actually finish the game before you get outscaled.
Well, let's do it once more. On to Summoner's Rift for what could be the final game of Team Liquid's MSI run. For T1, yeah, just another step on the road, another brick in the wall for them to knock over. TL have shown us some promising signs through this series. If it all comes together, wouldn't be surprised if they can take at least one.
With the extra frontline, Gumayushi actually going for the on-hit variety of the Varus. Lethal Tempo is picked up here. Definitely more known for the lethality. We saw in the last game as well. T1 have been playing around with that champion for like the last, 2.5 years? Ever since World 2022 in the final, some iconic steals. But the way they use it to guarantee mid lane prio in particular is something that for a lot of teams is hard to deal with. That's going to be a little bit harder for Guma this time around, but sustained DPS is going to be insanely high, as the Invade is going to get spotted here.
Yeah, he's looking across at a Cassante, Rek'Sai, and Nautilus health stacking front lines.
Oh, yeah.
He's thinking that looks so juicy. Him and Zeus have all of the percentage damage for later. Faker will have the poke. Meanwhile, we do get the extra lane swap that you're looking at, and Umti will cross over to enemy Raptors. No stealing of your weak side jungle camps this time around for either squad, though we do have a little bit of ring around the rosy.
Yeah. And you might wonder why TL are investing into this lane swap. They don't need to avoid Gumu and Keria as much in lane. It's not a double Hail of Blades lane, but putting Vayne behind is really good in a lane swap. The problem becomes if Impact oversteps a little bit in the bot lane and Zeus can chase him down. Ghost used by Impact. He'll be trying to find a safe place to back away, and Zeus went the wrong way, so Impact will get out.
All right, we got a game of ring around the rosy and then a game of hide and seek.
Yeah, just don't risk it.
It's harder to hide and seek when there's a turret hitting you in the back. However, he'll catch the wave a little bit, and that delays the next wave crash. Impact will have time to get back to the tower. That's a very, very unlikely.
And all of that was to absorb 3 melee minions worth of experience. That's how much top laners and lane swaps really covet.
And top laners don't have it easy in general, man. And then the lane swap meta makes it even worse. Will be, I think, good that he's able to deny the kill, overstepping. And there you again see Guma can actually keep going for that play because he has lethal tempo. So it's not just the Halo Blades proc. It's a lot more damage, and Impact now trying to get back to the wave. I don't think he's going to see any of it.
You can see both the supports running Demolish here as well to get through that first plate a little bit quicker. Impact trying to get up to his wave, hasn't used the teleport. Minions dying in the top lane as Yon and CoreJJ just proxy farm the wave, and that actually looks like they're going to back and reset around that level 3 marker to get back towards this bottom lane.
Impact still sneaking around too, trying to absorb experience.
I mean, the important thing here is like that you're splitting the XP 3 ways instead of 2. Right? In the top lane, CoreJJ and Yon were able to get 2-person split here. Impact's just, he's just trying. Just trying to get every bit of XP you can manage.
He's
Cancel the
getting some of
backs.
them, those ranged minions. And now you're going to have the lane swap back. CoreJJ and Yon finally arrive, and Impact is also going to do the little chase down play.
Yeah, he'll find Gumayushi. Trades back into him. Hail of Blaze coming out. Hail of Arrows, in fact. CoreJJ looking for the dredge line. Lands it onto Keria, who can just Pheromancy mount his way off and escape the play.
Impact is doing a lot in this lane swap. He's doing a lot as far as soaking in the experience, as well as going for the small delays here, these little plays in the lane swaps to try and get you that experience.
Ooh, still not backing though. Does have the TP available, so can go towards the top side at a moment's notice. Maybe expecting a follow-up play. Keria stuck around here as well. Out of pots. We do see APA this time making his way over. Owner trying to cover for this dive.
Owner level 4, Keria 2, Guma 3. Impact and Umti on the way. It's a 5-man dive in the bot lane. Just play safe, T1. Owner here to protect. Pathmaker forward. Guma flashes away from it, but the seismic shove finds 2. And Keria's already down, answering. Impact falls himself. As TL might look for more, they'll at least get this wave crashing in. Owner and Gumayushi under the tower. Not much health, no summoners for Guma. Faker coming in from the side as well, but that control ward stops him in his tracks as it looks like in the end, it will be a 1-for-1 exchange.
Yep, TL go for the classic old 5-person dive on the bottom side and try and deny some more minions there and Impact the willing sacrifice in that dive.
Big thing here is that because of them threatening another dive, Faker actually feels incentivized to play aggressively as APA.
Owner's on the chase here as well.
No
Has the
flash.
flash. APA has no flash. And he doesn't really have a hope in hell of getting out, but instead T1 back away with CoreJJ moving in from the side.
Big thing there, Owner does have his flash, but doesn't want to use it because he flashes in and he flashes into the waiting arms of Umti and CoreJJ. He'd end up going down. Doesn't risk it. The hook. Keria's there.
Looking for the damage. Owner has to flash away. Yon joining the fray. He's on the wrong side of the wall compared to his teammates.
Going for the big punish there. Jungler's flash for flash, and CoreJJ investing his ignite as well. Topside, meanwhile, Impact did get back up to that wave towards the turret, but Zeus is going to be pretty happy this time around. The Vayne with the experience lead because of all the early shenanigans on the bottom half.
That's the one price they had to pay, and because it was Keria that went down, not Guma, the deficit, 41, really not that big of a deal. Still, Guma did have to give up a decent amount of the wave. Keria gets hooked again, but should be fine here underneath the turret. And we do see
flash.
Oh!
Yon flashes away from the shadowing strike. He's going to need a piercing arrow through his back, but manages to escape the CC chain.
Because of the kill that Guma got, the gold is basically even. So, do see APA now level 6. Zeus needs to play respectful. I've seen these Talia roams be super impactful in the early to mid game.
Honors even between the teams so far. Zeus building up that lead in the top lane, about 500 gold ahead, mid relatively even. Yon has a CS lead, but because Gumayushi picked up a kill, the gold between them at a standstill. CoreJJ and Yon are looking for this. Keria hook, no flash on him. Shadowing strike finds one stun. Keria has a bunch of spears in his back to end coming out. Gumayushi locked up with the staggering blows from the Nautilus, but Faker's on the way, and Yon is falling first. Faker looking for more. Instead, it's Guma who secures the kill.
Mid lane priority. Faker with the roam down, closes the door behind the bottom lane, and that is huge for this early game. Absolutely massive to get the Callista Nautilus off the map, to get Guma and Keria pushing that one right back out.
And so much was invested by TL to try and get this bot lane ahead. They set up the 5-man dive. They were able to build a decent lead when it comes to the CS, but now another kill for Guma.
And remember, we cautioned about the T1 scaling of the Corki, and if Faker is going to be able to get through this early game, he got one of the kills also, paid for his roam down there. TL, though, they respond on the reset with the objective. They will at least try and trade.
They don't take it that quickly, though. It's still at 2,000 HP. They're looking for Owner. CoreJJ going in. Only level 4. Weaver's Wall's going to separate the two teams as Umti dives in. Onto Owner, still the damage coming out. TL will find one. Faker trying to put the damage in from the side, but Impact runs across as well. Faker has to flash away from Impact. Pathmaker in, double stun, all out. Keria survives under the tower, but Faker does not have that luxury. TL find 2.
Impact finds his old teammate and takes him down, and a couple of kills going over to TL.
Once again, Impact always looking for the team plays as a top laner, and with Zeus up topside there on the Vayne, quietly but surely farming up and increasing his lead. Impact comes for the team play yet again. You see on the minimap, he's recalling now as they go for the seismic shove onto Owner. T1, they did put a stop to the Dragon, but TL, they want to get early kills. They want to accelerate the early game. So they kind of welcome some more chaos here, and Faker, even though he flashes into the W, and then Impact's able to W him against the wall for the ultimate and pick up the extra kill.
That said, though, that was a heavy investment. And when it comes to the gold, it's nice, but they weren't able to also get the Dragon. So I'm not 100% sure if getting those kills is worth Zeus getting even further ahead. It was a 300 gold lead. Now he's sitting at a 600 gold lead. And the rest of TL is going to have to invest some resources to ensure that this Vayne doesn't get completely out of control.
The question will be whether they can lock him up in a fight as well. Carrier Hex flashing across the wall. They're shadowing strike, chain of corruption, piercing arrow. Impact down to 100. One more auto. Carrier takes it with the ignite. Impact unable to survive the dive from the T1 bot lane. And meanwhile, Zeus just moved towards mid to try and catch this. APA a little bit pushed up. Faker collapsing, but in the end, APA should be able to remove himself to the safety of Core JJ and Umpty.
Yeah, and you can see the positioning of both Zeus and Faker. They very well know our entire side of the map.
Faker! Seismic shove, Dredgeline. Faker just Valkyried into it. And now Faker, who tried to escape, won't be able to. APA sends him to an early grave.
Flashback to the play that Knight found. The Valkyrie not going to be enough to take Faker out. Yeah, T1 trade on the bottom side of the map, but that's an unforced error.
I was just about to say, oh, Faker and Zeus, look at their positioning. They're hovering on the bottom side of the map.
Good,
but
yeah.
then Faker tries to cross back towards the tower, towards mid, and APA gets the seismic shove.
A greedy route, to say the least. Yon looking for the 1v1 here against Zeus. APA here to join the party, make it a 2v1. Flash away from Zeus, pop the final hour as well. The countdown on that final hour is ticking. Yon takes the tower shot. APA takes another. And Zeus pull up in and outplay from this position. There's the Ghost. Unraveled Earth going down. Zeus trying to do everything he can to dodge away. And he continues to do so until Yon puts a spear in his back. Faker getting chased away. The Valkyrie will get him to safety this time.
What those top laners will do for some experience. He ults and he dives right under the tower trying to get some of the minion wave. And eventually, APA and Yon are able to get him.
It's APA being the big difference maker here, punishing Zeus, who does have a tendency to overextend inside lanes. And APA currently involved with 5 out of the 5 kills for TL.
Meanwhile, though, because he did vacate that mid lane, Gumayushi is happy to cash in.
TP from APA up towards the top side. He'll be the one answering Zeus' push for now. Maybe even looking for a bit of a bush bait. Gonna wait to see if Zeus oversteps. No Ghost, no Flash. No ultimate either. Seismic shove, the tumble. Oh. Zeus quick on the trigger to press that Q key and escape the clutches of APA.
And that was a critical play, because if you don't do that and you do get chunked out, then you'll have the rotation over from mid for TL towards these Void Grubs, which now are contestable by T1. Zeus going for the teleport play here on top side. They're calling in Faker.
Faker joins the party. APA looking for the damage onto Zeus, condemned into the wall and condemned to death by T1. The Grub started by Umpty, has the pressure in mid, but no longer a mid laner in top to protect him.
Zeus though effectively taken out, so if TL feel brave, they might still try and at least get a 4th grab, but they don't want to risk it, it looks like, with Guma and Carry also in the area.
We'll just back away. Impact used this time to push in the bot lane. Another plate to him. 2 minutes before those fall off. Gold relatively even between the two teams. Only 400 the difference.
What's really big is that with this play, Zeus was up 600 gold. Then, first, they found him with the kill, and then there, even though APA doesn't actually get the kill onto this Vayne, he still misses out on more. So now, between the goal between this Cassandre and this Vayne is going to be even. Does that mean that Impact is suddenly going to be winning the matchup? No, but at least it buys him a little bit more space. As I say that, though, Zay is showing that Impact still needs to pay respect.
And then in the aftermath, as TL are able to push out with the top side tower already being taken, 6 Void Grubs is on the menu. And they are the team that has to worry about the timeline in this game, since there is so much scaling on the side of T1. So 6 Void Grubs is actually quite critical for TL.
Break up in 2.5 minutes. Won't be a Chem Soul this game. We've already had a Mountain and a Chem. We'll see what Soul develops. Umpty's on the top side of the map. Faker's going to answer the push that has been laid down by APA. With Ona and Carrier on bot side, I expect Faker to play relatively safe here.
He does have flash, so see if Umpty can actually combo over that wall or if they're just going to allow the push in. Looks like they just finish off their push towards the secondary tower and go for the recall. Faker does not put himself in a dangerous spot this time around.
Thanks to the kills given to both these AD carries, both of them currently sitting on Blade of the Ruined King, Berserker Greaves. Gold basically dead even. Little bit of an experience leader for Yon. That's going to be what I'm going to look towards as we get towards this Herald fight. Which of these AD carries can actually put out the damage necessary to get their team to win? Because there's so much backline threat, either with the CC of this Taliyah and of this Nautilus. On the other end, the hard engage from Owner and Carrier.
And on the reset there, CoreJJ and Yon coming over to make sure that not only do they steal away the red buff here, but should be able to clean up this Rift Trail.
Carrier's just backing.
Yeah, this really pushes ahead the timeline. I like this from Team Liquid. The focus here, they know they have to index so heavily into these top side neutral objectives in order to get this map open.
Faker gonna step forward. Umpty jumping across the wall.
See?
Faker, flash knock up from Umpty. The Glacial Prism though is gonna land onto Umpty. And he'll be forced away. Flash for flash in the end, the exchange.
Just a millisecond there between the seismic shove follow-up and the knock-up duration from Umpty going for that lightning quick flash play, but they could not quite chain it onto Faker. Faker's flash is down though for Umpty's flash. See if that ends up becoming an issue for Faker.
Crucially there, Owner in position. If he doesn't land that ultimate, if Umpty gets up an extra auto or two, then all of a sudden you're within ult range. Maybe can turn it into a pick. Not going to be the case here. Instead, Faker gets out with his life, thanks to Owner standing at the ready as the Dragon coming up in about 25 seconds. That is going to be the next objective these two teams are going to fight over.
Yeah, and with Team Liquid having that Rift Trail, they can even make a strong push mid first and drop Rift Trail and blow open the tower. But it looks like they want to punish Faker's lack of flash. CoreJJ goes around, he'll get spotted, and that will alert Faker.
Yeah, CoreJJ on the flank here. Faker no flash, as you said, Kobe. He tries to Valkyrie forward, just looking to clear the wave, dodges the seismic shove. Well done, Faker. He gets most of the wave. One cannon minion survives. But meanwhile, T1 are pushing in this bot side for the Drake. It will be their second of the game.
Yeah, and again, I do like that call because TL know, hey, we're not that team that's going to play a super long game stacking dragons against you.
Yeah.
They need to snowball. They need to get more of these topside objectives, and so Faker plus a charge in here for APA. All 6 Void Grubs picked up, so you get the extra swarm of Void Mites here.
T1, they try their best to make the best, or they try their best to make the best of a bad situation. In this case, Faker getting taken down has happened to this team a lot. The immediate counter punch is just a Dragon. It is a very valuable soul with the Hex Stack coming through again. But I agree with you, Kobe, especially now that you're looking to accelerate your gold lead as TL. Getting these side lane turrets matters way more than the idea of maybe getting a soul at some point.
Oh, really. You see 2 Knights Vows as well on T1. Carrier has put his onto Gumayushi. Owner yet to use his, as far as I can tell. He's been near Faker a couple of times, hasn't put it on him. Expect that he's waiting to put it onto Zeus, but he's had the Knights Vow for a while and hasn't put it on anyone in a way that has reflected any damage. So we'll see if that's an oversight from Ono, or if he's waiting for the opportune moment to use that on his accomplish. TL trying to catch out Zeus on this top lane. We've already seen Faker fall to this sort of play. TL can go for it. Zeus, let's use the tumble. Here we go. Flash, depth charge, and where's Zeus even gonna go? You don't get an opportunity to move. TL may push for an in-hit.
Topside after topside after topside play for Team Liquid, and now they can push on Inhibitor Tower.
Who's even going to react? Owner's on his way across. Faker on the reset as well, but with 6 grubs, these mites just bolster your forces so quickly. Don't go for the inhibitor. Glacial Prison's going to land onto Yon. He still holds on to the cleanse. The package in, double TP. T1 investing into this play. Void Seeker in as Faker is forced over the wall. Carrier jumping in with a Magnet Storm, but is the chase there in time? Umpty fills to a piercing arrow from Narnia, but Carrier follows suit quickly after. The Chain of Corruption will lock up TL for a second. Gumayushi stepping back forward with a ghost. Yon can chase you down, Guma. Yon can chase you down. But the smallest fraction of HP keeps Guma alive.
How does Guma keep doing it? But Zeus
with the final hour is the final chapter in TL's story here at MSI. Faker the first target, all out, but can Impact do enough against Zeus? Just one. He's looking to make it two. He's dodging, he's dipping, he's weaving his way around. The ghost in up to keep him alive for a second, but TL continues to collapse.
So low.
Carrier's reset and he's coming through the Hex gates. Weaver's wall will separate the play as APA dashes in. They know Zeus is in the alcove having a little break, having a little moment to himself, but APA doesn't have the mana and he just can't find Zeus. In the end, he falls to the threaded volley. Faker Valkyries away. Carrier rejoined the fray and found another kill for T1.
The madness! The madness! Does it continue? We've got to push on mid lane
they're
there.
look for a dive, surely.
X flash over. Guma Yushi is going to get the whole tower mid, I think.
Carrier just chasing in. Unraveled body going out, the knock up, T's rejoining the fray, Carrier tanking the tower, APA first to fall, Faker with the TP, has joined up with his buddies to fight in the top lane. Permafrost will stun for a second, but Yon is here to party, so's Guma, and TL are at a numbers disadvantage 4-3, as Impact runs out of the base, and it's actually going to go catch the midway.
It's the stalling there from Zeus, giving T1 the time to regroup, and as you point out, Kobe, while all that was going on, Guma able to just start shoving in mid. Zeus draws so much time and attention to himself that by the time TL actually take him down, reinforcements are there.
The dancing from Faker and Zeus. Zeus Hex gates out to delay TL because he knows if they can make the play longer, they can get the extra objectives here. And they are dancing with a little bit of death here. Barely Impact lives. You see that rocket go right by his head, but Zeus got the flash shut down, the important kill there, and then is able to delay so much longer in that alcove, even though you know the end of this story, Chronicler.
Even though it ends up with Zeus going down, it means that the rest of TL is just focusing on this play, but look towards mid. Even in the case of the dive not happening, it was still going to be a goal positive trade for T1. At the same time, though, they did lose the inhib turret, so if at any point now they make a big mistake, that highway into their base is in fact open.
30 seconds on, soul point for T1, a Hex Soul, their target. They've got flashes up as well. Owner, Faker, Guma all still have that summoner. Yon and APA have burnt theirs, as has CoreJJ. Only 2 percentage points between the combat gold. You can see about 2k, not too impactful as CoreJJ looks for it, but can't find the dredge line. APA tries to separate the team, but at the moment, TL can't find the avenue of approach they're looking for.
Yeah, they're trying to force to engage while Faker's not there. Before TL get poked by these rockets from the Corki. Now after Faker finishes up the wave,
Seismic shove onto Owner, into the knockup. He's going to have to burn the flash. Faker coming from the flank, has that big one charged up, and here comes the Magnus Storm onto the backline. Umpty locked up for a second, down to 200. Impact going in as well, as they manage to lock up Faker. The seismic shove doesn't hit, but the all-out is everything for Impact. He pulls back his former teammate and sends him to a watery grave. Impact falls though as Gumayushi stabs him in the back. The seismic shove just dodged by Owner as T1 looks to continue the aggression. Umpty's in the pit, the Drake up. Where will T1 go?
Zeus doesn't have his ultimate available anymore, can't quite step up. Guma is trying his best to keep it together, to output the damage necessary. TL gonna be getting the Drake.
As well as we do. Core only lands it onto Owner. The seismic shove's going to flick him back though, and APA takes the kill. CoreJJ able to survive, but Gumayushi and Zeus still very healthy, and Carrier's back on his way. No Magnus Storm for him, but a Hex Flash if he wants to get into the fray. Can't do it right now. TL will back away. They managed to secure the Drake as the fight began.
the game is so tense right now. TL, they know they have to keep forcing these plays. They force on mid, and Impact gets another ultimate to bring Faker over to the rest of the team, getting the extra kills for themselves, and they get a dragon on top. Take a look at the timeline too, because I thought there was going to be a bigger punishment on Umpty. They got a seismic shove with Force's owner splash here, but then the Varus ultimate into the Sejuani ultimate gets like 80% of Umpty's life, and it is the turn of shooting CoreJJ back in and then Impact the critical ult onto Faker.
Even before that, Impact already is zoning away the member. Zeus can't actually step up. Without Zeus autoing, it's so hard to make the play. Guma again keeping it together for T1. Perfect game thus far.
We're fighting against Chain of
Found.
Corruption is going to land on CoreJJ. Carrier kept at bay by Impact down towards the bottom side. is separated from his team. The Weaver's Wall coming in by APA. Carrier flashes into it, and he place spawns in. The Magna Storm catches CoreJJ for the moment. Zeus on the flank. Carrier and Impact will be and CoreJJ will be the first to fall. The Prey Seeker onto the backline by but he just doesn't have the damage. And now Impact has to run for the hills. The seismic shot onto Ono is enough with the spear from Yon. Zeus trying to get into the fight, but he can't quite get close enough as T1 and TL continue to butt heads.
It's raining arrows. It's raining rockets. TL, they try to hold on, but the continuous damage in these fights is just too much.
And Gumayusi still has yet to die. This Varus has been insane. Almost to 3 items. After his recall, probably is going to have him completed. Let's take another look at it, though, and how it started out. They went for the engage on a CoreJJ, but critically he got his hook off there for his aftershock as well. And then you see the tier 2 of this engage. Wall does get Carrier a little bit pincered, but then it's support for support trade, basically.
Crucially here as well, I think Zeus kind of throws them off because he walks back into vision with the Nautilus ult on him, which splits up the fight. One part of TL is like, okay, we got to kill this Vayne. The other part is we got to try and collapse on the existing members, but that allows more space for T1 to do their thing. The goal, though, dead even at 24 minutes.
And for TL, who do you need to step up? It's Yon, it's APA, the 2 players that they have built the bedrock of this team on the North American talent. Of course, CoreJJ and Impact, the veterans. the general, joining the squad this year. But when I think of TL, I think of APA and Yon and what an MSI they've been having. The question is, here at what is not the final hurdle, but is definitely the biggest one they faced, can they overcome it?
They need to find another pick. They have to force plays here and then try and pick up a Baron afterwards. Because Faker's already at his 2 items. He's got his Muramana transformed. Evasion here from T1. They avoid the attempted pick from TL. Vision control is complete, though.
Big thing here is that unlike the last game, T1 is so much more consistent in the team fights because they have frontlined themselves. We see the value
they
that
did this in the finals. They did this in the finals. called for a Baron when they thought that FlyQuest didn't know, and right now T1 are having done to them what they've done to so many teams in the past. It's down to 4 lives and they have no idea. TL against T1, sneak the big purple worm under their very noses, and T1 are found wanting.
That's exactly what T1 need. Now let's see what can they get with it. They have to take as many towers as possible. Mid lane, they keep up the pressure here, even while APA and CoreJJ go for their recalls. There are Hex Gates to get their reset off a little bit quicker. Remember also, topside inhibitor is exposed, and they're sending APA here on the Taliyah up around this side.
Having seen a lot of T1 in these situations, what they're going to be looking for is Carrier going in aggressively with the follow-up of Owner. That snap engage of this T1 comp, even if it doesn't initially take down one of the members, with Terminus now done for Gumayusi, with Faker approaching his 3rd item, the amount of damage they're able to put in short time, not even taking into account the fact that there's a Vayne there. There's so much threat. Didn't get the cancel. Could have been big to at least force something like a flash. And you see T1 gonna have to seize control and just weather the storm of this Baron.
And that Vayne you mentioned, Zeus' Ghost is about to come off cooldown. That is a scary Vayne. Gumayusi has been the backbone, but a lot of these plays have been opened up by Zeus playing with vision and the threat here coming from his pick.
T1, they've been in this position so many times before. They are such a good team at taking you in fights, finding pockets of vision to get those flanks for Carrier, to find those engages for Carrier. Here we see them trying to clear TL. Doing it by the numbers, though. They have set up their vision line. The Drake started by Yon, who can just dash across the wall.
Is APA going to go for the inhib right now while T1 are doing Baron?
It's only the Drake, right? It's only the 3rd.
I mean,
APA will get the inhibitor. And TL are happy enough with that. The Drake secured by T1 will put them on soul point. TL trying to get the mid lane prio, trying to force T1 to take the long route round because APA can always Weaver's wall off from behind enemy lines. Glacial Prism wide again. There's the Weaver's Wall we talked about. The package coming in as well as Carrier jumps behind enemy lines. The Chain of Corruption coming in. Faker being called out by Carrier has spears in his back. And TL have death in their eyes. Carrier the first to fall. Zeus doing everything he can on the backline, but CoreJJ will lock him up for a second. Zeus flashing, ghosting, dashing away. The final hour, perhaps the final chapter in TL's books here. The seismic shot dodge to the side. T1 looking for the re-engage. Umti has kept Faker away from the fight for as long as he can, and TL still 5-man strong as T1 forced them away.
Even with a mismatch between Keria and Faker, it's a disengaging package. Keria, he's going in. The Weaver's wall doesn't allow them to actually follow up. It doesn't matter because as long as these carries are alive, you can't push through against T1. Guma had to ghost. Zeus had to blow both his summoners. The inhib towards top is down, but the soul point crucially goes to T1. And we talked about it in the last time we saw it with the ASO. Corki with a Hextech Soul, and even though it's not lethality, Varus with a Hextech Soul is a nightmare to play into.
All right, Team Liquid trying to keep up that push though, keep up the pace of the game. They spent another 5 minutes giving that dragon. What can they get out? Now it's only 3.5 minutes left on the arrival of that soul that you warn of, Chronicler and TL. They're closing in. Another secondary tower here. 50% HP. There goes to Leo Wall.
Weaver's wall being used well by APA from the side lane. They'll take the final tier 2 that's standing, with it a 4,000 gold lead. And for TL, they are in the driver's seat, but we've talked about scaling, we've talked about the power of T1, the Hex Soul on the horizon for them. They have such strength. Likely waiting for Zeus to have his sums back up, for Guma to have the Ghost, but Guma at 3 items, Faker at 3-2. It is a very mighty wall you have to climb as TL.
What's remarkable though is, Keria taking this.
Oh, Keria goes in, and Umti immediately dies on him. The Magnus Storm will do nothing.
Top mid is
all
down.
in TL, and
They
as you
have a
say,
wave.
Keria down, they have a wave, but Faker can start to clear it. The mid lane should be their target instead. Get the wave through there, look for the inhib, or maybe you just look for the win. Can TL grasp victory from the jaws of defeat?
You gotta try, you might not get another opportunity. 20 seconds on Keria.
TL will do it by the numbers, push through mid instead. Piercing arrow charged up by Gumayushi as T1 look to make their last defense. TL pushing forward, and they will get the inhib. T1 cede it to them.
Keria is going to be up in 8 seconds. You have to call off the pressure now. The objective was achieved from Team Liquid. They came into this game knowing we must focus topside. The Void Grubs could be it. Now they wait. On Vision. The control word is down. Can they make another pick?
2 steps forward.
Keria.
Gotta be Keria. APA step back, and Keria realized in that moment perhaps there was something lying in the darkness. No vision though for T1 as they push back into this jungle. A minute though before the Baron comes back up. Umti now spotted on that ward.
For T1, I don't know if they expected this kind of resilience. Losing a game 2 like that is such an insane amount of pressure. So exhausting to play these long games where you have to remain focused. T1 right now, 4.5k behind. Yes, the soul is still waiting. Yes, their team fight is strong, but they're down 2 inhibs. Getting out on the map is going to be way harder.
In a second game here, Team Liquid are pushing the world champions to the brink. T1 have 1 inhibitor left to defend at. 1 inhibitor tower to defend at. And here comes TL, reset, 20 seconds left on Baron. With the extra pressure that you get from 2 inhibitors worth of super minions going down top lane, going down mid lane, that is what they can use to try and move in and first take Vision to try and get their game-winning pick. Look at that Talia with the death cap done with 9 stacks on the Dark Seal. With the extra rod turned into the Shadow Flame. All right, APA. Set up on the Talia with a huge gold advantage. Umti as well on this Rek'Sai.
APA, a 2,500 gold lead in the mid lane from TL challengers to LCS champions within a year, and now challenging on the greatest stage of them all. MSI here against the GOAT, the greatest player of them all, against the world champions. Can TL cross that final mile?
They have to pressure T1 enough to buy at least time to burn the Baron or actually get a pick. Right now, T1 are playing really well, cautiously holding these waves.
They might trade, get the Hextech Soul and give up the Baron. The problem is 2 inhibs are down, so that is a really big risk that T1 are taking, but it looks like they're committing.
They're gonna burn it. TL have made the call, fine, you can have the Soul. We need to win this game on this Baron. If TL do not win the game on this Baron, they are in big trouble because the Hex Soul acquired by T1.
Importantly for TL, they will be able to get the top.
Oh, they just respawned!
As well.
That's
It
going to be
respawned
gone.
about 5-10 seconds ago. Impact's looking for it here with the Baron up minions. The rest of TL on their way to try and defend him. Will T1 overstep? They have the package. Will Faker go for it? Will he think the Impact's all alone? But he's not. His friends are here. His team is here. And Faker has to flash away. Carrier flashes away too. A great collapse from TL, but with the chain of corruption coming in, Jay's down to half HP, and T1 can look for a bit more of a Barney, a bit more of a fight. Zeus tumbles forward. 2 flashes out. TL back out. The Hex Soul for the Baron. The trade we have decided on. And for TL, it is 2.5 minutes away from glory. For T1, they just gotta wait it out.
If Carrier didn't find those couple of pixels there and got knocked back with the seismic shock, we've seen what happened to him. If the Rel isn't the one engaging, even if you proc Aftershock afterwards, even if you get enough CC to get your resistance after that, you're just gonna die. Carrier has died a lot in this game already, setting up the engages together with Owner. If he would have died there, particularly with the Baron buff, that could have been enough, but instead, that does actually take a lot of time. So T1, they're going to try and remain calm. They weren't able to get the topside inhib, were able to get the shove because they have to back off after their initial play doesn't end up working out, and we just need to hold on for 1 minute and 40. Our inhibs are going to come back up, and we have a permanent objective in the Hextech Soul. And again, the amount of slow, I think, in particular, and the fact that it changed,
So useful.
it's
So
so
useful.
annoying to play into.
Incredibly useful here. T1 hit the jackpot there. Let's see what they can do with it. TL are hoping, but I don't think anyone takes this bait because T1 are just looking at the clock and saying, hey, you're the ones under pressure. You're the ones with the Baron that is expiring.
Faker's wall coming out. Faker has no flash. Flashes for him.
He's dead.
Faker falls.
They gotta go for it.
One man.
Can they get it? Can they defy all expectations and become the very epitome of the unknown here against T1? NA's candle has burned brightly here at MSI, but I thought today it would be extinguished. TL
Triple
have
inhibs.
other plans. Faker down for 30, Baron remains for 45. Impact pushing in the bot lane, the inhib, the first target for TL. Will they take it slow or will they go for a battle here against T1, against underneath their Nexus towers? Owner flashes forward, and he catches one AP, able to flash out in time. The final hour from Zeus, trying to put the final chapter in the nail of the coffin of this book for TL. Zeus gets in, and APA puts him in his place. TL will not be going quietly into the night. They will defy every expectation and take a game against T1.
Team Liquid, they will take a game versus the world champions here at MSI. The poise on stage, on this huge, grand international stage. APA and Yon, they hold strong. In TL, they make the call. We are going to go more early game than you. We are going to focus on all the topside objectives. We are going to focus on the game-ending void objectives, and they barely squeak it out, even giving up a Hex Soul.
So much of that game was mid and AD carry. Yon and APA, we sang their praises, and in the end, finding the pick there, JJ ready to follow up, taking down Faker, who is both the wave clear and so much of the damage on T1.
These Team Liquid players have to be so proud right now. The hard work that they have put in, the faith that they put in, their young players, and for it to be rewarded here versus world champs is huge.
It's just absurd. It's been 2,033 days since the LCS beat the LCK in a best-of-5 series. There's a small glimmer of hope there.
Now it's 0.
It's one game. It's one game.
It has to be a
Don't get
best-of-5.
over
I'll take
excited.
that. Take one game.
0. Okay, we'll take one game. We're going to hand over to the analysts to break down that win.
Team Liquid, they're still in it. I will push back just a little bit because what am I hearing? You were close in the first 2 games. It was heartbreaking. You showed a lot of good things in draft and in the play. T1 is not playing their best. You inched closer and you did it in game 3. I do not think you are happy with just a game, and I don't like this reductive storytelling. They are in this.
I know who doesn't also like it. It's TL.
Yeah.
Because I do think, absolutely, they came in being like,
Sorry, I was shouting, but I feel strongly about this.
unlike me, being like, we can win the series. And I think the biggest play from this game was that first Baron sneak. right?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think the other biggest play was when Brother Faker decided to overstay in the top lane, because if they don't win on that Baron push, I think the series is a wrap. But absolutely, Team Liquid really had a lot of pressure on themselves, not just because they're facing elimination, but because they do not scale as well. If this game goes ultra late, if it stays even gold, they lose, and they managed to pull off a Baron sneak. The thing here that I think sealed it is the fact that Kalista was on a wave the whole time. So that's the one you think is going to try the two-man sneak Baron, and APA had death cap at this moment and just crushed the Baron.
Yeah, and I think obviously it underscores the importance of this Talia pick, but it also underscores the fact that this is something we've seen TL do domestically as well, and also responds to something that previously I think T1 were absolutely lights out at, and it was around their Baron setups and really tracking not only when their opponents could do Baron, but specifically setting it up for themselves. So whenever they were able to capitalize on a mistake, they're immediately going for that objective. We already saw it in this series. So absolute,
So many fights.
Yeah, absolute credit to TL. This early game was bonkers.
They were down 1,000 gold when they found this engage, so they have been needing to make a lot of clutch plays. If you think back to game 1, they were also about 1,000 gold down, and winning these like middle-ish game fights around early dragon setups has been pretty crucial. Then there was this sequence, this was the conclusion of the sequence, where they found 3 consecutive picks controlling the top side of the map, kind of catching T1's hand in the cookie jar over and over again, and these are the types of things that had opened up the lead for TL.
Yeah, and we were talking about it and watching, and I mean, Jack, you were saying bad trade with the Baron to the Drake. I don't want to see this, but I think you say it there. They had found those consecutive picks, and there was something that was making us irk, thinking someone's T1 is due getting caught.
Yeah, I mean, obviously hindsighting, it's fine.
But I said it before.
Yeah, it's obviously fine to take the Baron for the Hextech Soul trade if you win. If you're able to win within the Baron push and you can see 15 seconds to spare. Faker, I thought he was going to be sitting at the Nexus. He pushed way past that line, and Team Liquid jumped on him right away. So I do think that Faker is going to want to play a lot better in the next game, but that is the straw that broke the camel's back in this game. It's not like there were other things that Team Liquid wasn't taking advantage of.
Yeah, and obviously you could see the thought process from TL, right? They're like, we do get outscaled. I know you didn't like the trade, and I'm not necessarily defending it myself, but I do think going into this series and specifically looking at the mid and mid to late game of what there was a late game in this game, I do think you see the thoughtfulness behind everything TL is doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, they are opting into that trade specifically, and they are counting on themselves to be like, we will make our tempo advantage, and we will be able to close this out. And credit to TL, because I think previously that was the thing that we were looking at, being like, okay, when they do end up getting an advantage, are they able to push the tempo to win and make it look like they can close T1 out? And previously it was T1 who was doing that to them.
In the previous games as well, and it's also, even late, these skirmishes are so hard to win. You know, we saw Gumiyushi hitting so incredibly hard in the front, and you say it, you're just so afraid of that scaling coming to fruition, and they close the door just in time, and I think that is really great to see.
I mean, I'm really nervous for Game 4,
Why?
honestly. Well, because T1's going to take the blue side back.
Yes.
And I do think the blue side's pretty crucial in the series because of the things that Team Liquid has been doing in the ban phase. They're banning 2 of Faker's champions and the Ashe, and this means that they're going to have the Talia over if they want it for T1, unless TL wants to change their bans. But another thing that I would want to discuss would be, like, yes, this series is 2-1, and it will really suck for TL if it ends 3-1. Because if I look at just the different stages of the game where I feel like TL or T1 has been advantaged in, I think TL has had better drafting. I think they've actually had better macro and mid-game, but I think T1 has ultimately had better team fighting and slightly better laning, and then they're narrowly up 2-1 because Game 2 was so close. But Emily, what do you see for Game 4 draft?
I mean, obviously, TL are heavily prioritizing the Cassante, especially since they have opted into swaps in this series. I think the most interesting thing, especially, obviously, they're going to be going back to red side. I fully expect them to just stick with this ban strategy. I don't expect them to drop the Ashe. I wouldn't if I was them, because Ashe is very scary. But the Cassante prio is the main thing that I would be wondering if T1 do maybe want to change something. That would be something they would target, since they've targeted specifically the Tristana and the Lucian in all of their bans.
You know, as I look up, so the biggest draft to look at is the Game 1 draft because that's the one where we're going to be repeating the sides.
Yeah.
I don't hate that Team Liquid draft upon reflection, seeing it again.
No.
Because in that game, Asol went down 3 kills to 0 very early.
That doesn't happen
And then the game still managed to be even by 20
Yeah.
minutes. I think it's sneaky Ziggs angle as well if they want to throw a curveball in Game 4.
I think you have him in a corner. We saw that. I mean, I don't like to read into body language
So-
that much, but T1 is not happy
Team
with how
Liquid
they
does
play.
not have T1 in a corner. There's 2 games left, but they are definitely putting
They
up
are
a big
moving
fight.
them towards the corner. Okay. New prediction? Yes, no? Okay, we're going to break, and we hope that TL can keep this going.
I'm not
What are you
predicting.
doing?
I'm not predicting again.
Why are you throwing things?